Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today, I wanted to attempt the hardest PvP Legacy challenges. These challenges range from easier challenges, like using a 1x1 texture pack, to insanely hard challenges, like ranged weapons only. Will I be able to beat them? Let's find out. Also, before we get into the video, please subscribe. It only takes an hour to do, and you can never change your mind. Thanks. So the first challenge was no shield. This challenge was fairly easy. All I had to do was keep my distance and get a couple good crits on him, and as you can see, I finished it pretty easily. The next challenge was no HUD. Now this one was definitely a little more difficult because it was hard to see where my crosshair was, so it was really a test of my aim and how good I am without a crosshair in the middle of my screen. I used my normal playstyle, but as you can see, I'm playing a lot more cautious. But I ended up winning anyway. The next challenge was third person. This one was a lot more difficult, as it was hard to judge the distance between me and the other player, because I couldn't really count the blocks on the floor. As you can see, I could still hit crossbow shots, but I struggled to hit the player sometimes, as it was hard to judge distance. But after getting a couple good hits, I win anyway. The next challenge is sword only. This one wasn't that hard. All I had to do was get my timing correct, get some good crits in, and make sure he couldn't hit me too much with the axe. As you can see, I play a little bit aggressively, but it pays off. Basically, if I can hit him before he hits me, I can make sure I deal enough damage to win the fight. The next challenge is no crits. This challenge wasn't that difficult, as good timing allowed me to get hits on him, and even if they weren't critical hits, I could slowly chip away at his health. And since he wasn't able to hit me that often, I was able to chip him down to low health and then finish him off with a couple good axe hits. Also, by abusing shield, I can make sure I never get hit too much, and I never get too low on health. The next challenge is ranged only. This was by far the hardest challenge, especially for me, because my bow aim is not too great. As you can see, I'm just trying to turn around and just trying to hit him when his shield is down. And I get a couple good hits in, but most of the time I'm just running from him. As you can see, I'm trying to get enough distance between me and him so I can get a good shot in. Unfortunately, he is right on my tail and I can barely get a good shot in, so I just continue to run. And for most of this time, he has his shield up, which makes this very difficult. Luckily, I'm able to get some good shots in just by turning around and shooting at him, so I'm able to chip away at his health, slowly but surely. As you can see, I've sped up this part because it's a lot of me just running around and trying to get away from this guy, while trying to get some good bow shots in. Finally, he gets me down to 1 health, and at this point I only have 1 arrow, so I'm running around trying to collect some. I'm basically running around here trying not to get hit by his arrows and trying to get a shot in, but it's very risky, so I'm running away trying to get to cover. As you can see, I've lost most of my hunger now, so I'm about to lose my sprint right here. So I try to take some shots at him, but he has his shield up. I pick up an arrow off the ground and I load it into my crossbow, and finally I'm able to get a shot to win the game. The next challenge is the no armor challenge. This one also wasn't too difficult. As long as I can keep my distance from him and make sure he couldn't crit me, I'm relatively safe. So as you can see, I get a good crit here. He hits me with his sword once, and I'm able to trade crits because he's using his sword. And I crit him one more time here. And finally he disables my shield and I finish him off with an axe crit. The next challenge is the max FOV challenge. Now this one isn't too hard because it's very similar to the FOV I already use, which is 90. So this one isn't too difficult. However, a funny consequence of this, it makes me feel like I'm going very fast. As you can see, I'm playing very aggressive because it feels like I have speed on. So that was the only unintended consequence. I play very aggressive. But as you can see, I get a couple good crits in. I get him low. And I'm able to hit him with one more crit to end the game. The next challenge is minimum FOV. Now this one was very hard because it was very hard to keep him in my line of sight as my field of view is very low. I start off just trying to play very defensive and try to get some crits in. I'm trying to keep him in my field of view because it's very small, and if I move my mouse too much, I'm going to lose him. So I'm trying to keep him in front of me. As you can see right here, I lost him, but eventually I can turn around and hit him with a crit to win the game. The next challenge is the pumpkin on head challenge. Basically, I'm going to shear this pumpkin here, pick it up, and put it on my head, so I have this really annoying overlay. So the worst part about this one is that I could not see where I was aiming at all. I kind of messed up my timing here, and it's all around pretty crappy, and I'm not playing too well. As you can see, I'm playing pretty defensive, and I'm just trying to keep him in my field of view. I try to take some bow shots at him, but I miss, of course, because I can't see him. He hits me twice here with a bow because I could not see that he was shooting me. So I'm holding my shield up, trying to get him to come to me so he's bigger on my screen. I hit him with my axe there and I finish him off with a bow. The next challenge is the 10 FPS challenge. This was one of the hardest ones. It's not super hard to play the game, but everything is so delayed, it's crazy. As you can see, my shield timings are way off. And also, it didn't render the whole world, so it looks very weird. As you can see, my timings are very off, and I miss a couple shots that I should have hit. He's able to get some good crits on me here, and I keep missing my axe hits, and he gets me down to very low health. I'm able to crit him once, and I'm trying to hit him in his back, but my FPS is too low, and I can't manage that. So I'm going to back off here and play a bit defensively. At this point, he's just trying to bow spam because he's low. And he comes to me, I crit him, and I crit him again for the win. The next challenge is the 1x1 texture pack. This texture pack unfortunately was made for 1.8, so some of the blocks still look full resolution. Now this texture pack didn't really change my playstyle, but it did throw me off quite a bit, because everything looked so weird. I play this like a normal game though, although I'm playing a bit more defensively, just because of the texture pack. The next challenge is the shaders challenge. Now this challenge wasn't really that difficult. In fact, it made the game look a lot better. But it was a little bit weird, again, just because it threw me off a little bit, and the lighting was weird, so it was a little bit hard to see them. Eventually, I'm able to crit him and get the win. The next challenge is the maximum sensitivity challenge. This one was very hard. As you can see, it's shaking a lot because I'm not used to the sensitivity at all. In fact, I played a very low sensitivity. You can see sometimes I'm trying to move and my muscle memory causes my arm to swing and I end up doing like 3 revolutions. So that took some getting used to. Basically, I'm just trying to keep him in my field of view because the less I move my mouse, the easier this challenge is. As you can see, when I try to swing around, I end up moving a lot more than I want to. And it's very hard to do precise movements, so I'm basically just trying to make sure he hits me first. The next challenge is the minimum sensitivity challenge. This one was also very, very hard. As you can see, I have to move my arm a lot just to get him in my field of view. So again, I'm just trying to keep him in front of me. You can see when I try to turn around, it's very jerky and it's very unnatural. It's because I'm swinging my arm like 3 times on my desk to do that one movement. So again, I'm just trying to keep him in front of me because if he stays in front of me, I have to move my mouse less, which makes this challenge a lot easier. The next challenge is the A and D only challenge. Basically, I can only move with A and D, I can't press W or S. So this one was funny, because I probably looked like such a huge noob using only A and D, so I think he felt a little bit bad for me. I'm just trying to get him to come to me at this point, because it's hard for me to chase after him. As you can see, I'm staying very still because he keeps coming towards me, so I can just crit him whenever he comes near me. I'm able to get some crossbow shots in, and I can finish him off with one final crit to win the game. Well, that's the end of the challenges for today. If you have a challenge you think I should try, or something that I missed, just comment it down below. Thanks for watching, and please